Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are fit and healthy. You all are taking all the precautions from the virus. Yes, the vaccines are out, yet the vaccines have not come to many people, and there's a controversy on how the vaccine has affected people. So, we need to take precautions and to keep our immune systems healthy, to have healthy food and exercise daily. It's a very important task to keep your body working. Little advice from my side that we should exercise every day at least an hour. We should remove our for ourselves, right? Coming to the topic, we are going to do special English, and we have almost completed all the topics from the introduction of poetry. I am referring to this book. I have already shown you all. Yeah. So, in the third semester, introduction, the theory of poetry. So, I have completed everything from the theory of poetry. The last few topics that I had done was, I'll just read out. I've done epic, lyric, all these kinds of poetry, ode, sonnets. What are sonnets? What is dramatic monologue? And all the modernism and modernity. So we've done all of that, and today we'll be starting a very new topic, and the topic's name is the Nightingale or Philomela, written by Sir Philip Sidney. He is the author, he is the poet, a very well known author. So, before starting with the poem over here, and before starting what is the poem about, first we should know who wrote it, right? So, Sir Philip Sidney has written it, and we should know who is this author or the poet and what he has done, what is his work, what type of poet he is. So first we will revise little bit about the poet, then we'll move forward and revise about the poem. We'll see the poem and also discuss question answers and meanings, the glossary of the poetry. So the people who are referring to this book can open to page number 45, and today we'll be doing little short a brief about the poet first. So I'll just share my screen for you all. Oh, I hope you all can see the slide. Right. So the topic's name is The Nightingale, written by Sir Philip Sidney. So it is a poem done by Philip Sidney. Okay. So let's read little about the poem. Okay. Yes. So I would like to first start. I just told you all that first we'll be doing about the poet, right? So I'll not share the screen first. Let me a little bit revise about the poet. That is Sir Philip Sidney. Twist of tongue. Okay, Sir Philip Sidney, like his famous contemporaries, William Shakespeare, Walter Raleigh, belongs to the Elizabethan era. So Sir Philip Sidney is from the Elizabethan, the Queen Elizabeth era. And just like Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, and William Shakespeare. He was born in 1554 in England and rose to become the pillar of the society in English language. So he was born in England and brought up in the same place, but he became very famous because of his writings and poetries. A very versatile man. That means, what do you mean by versatile? He is good in many fields, not only one little field, but he is good in many fields. So Sydney combined different roles like that of a courtier, soldier, poet, and explorer. So he did all of these roles. Added to this, he had a personality. So he was of a very good personality. Sydney was also a critic. That means he used to actually criticize if there was something wrong. The new poets have removed, I mean, brought up something wrong or something not right, not appropriate for the poetry. So he was also a critic to judge the poetries. During Sydney's time, the sonnets of Watt and Shirley were gaining popularity, and poetry was accepted as a respected genre. Yet some critics question poetry's claim to truth and beauty. So some critics actually said that poetries are not very important as it's not very much true. Some poetries are just an imagination. So this was cleared by Sidney Philip that not all poetries are just imagination. If you pick up the sonnets are real life stories. Also, William Shakespeare has written many sonnets. We will be doing after the Nightingale. There is sonnet 3 that is going to come, written by William Shakespeare. He has written a sonnet that is small, short poetries on his life experiences. So poetry does not only belong to, some imagination, but it is also a reality. So Sydney studied in Shrewsbury School and later at Oxford University. He had strong Protestant conviction that brought him into service of Queen Elizabeth. So he studied at Oxford University and he was under Queen Elizabeth, very well known at that time. He later left court protesting against her marriage into French royalty. So he did not want a foreign authority to come. So he also met Herbert Longet, a humanist thinker, and he also shared a lot of knowledge with him. Now, let's study a little bit about the poem now. So I'll share my screen wherein we were going to do about poetry. So I hope you all understood about the poem. Sorry, about the poet, what we did about the poet. And now let's do about the poem. The Nightingale by Sir Sidney Philip is a poem comprised of two 12-line stanzas. That means two 12-line, one 12-line and another that altogether it goes up to 24 at a time when Italian meter and form were first entering the English literary tradition. So at that time, the English literary tradition had not come actually. So that's why the 12-line stanzas were made. In this two stanza, 24-line poem, the speaker addresses the mythical character Philomela, or you can say mythical character Philomela, who has been turned into a nightingale after her rape by her brother in law. A very serious topic to discuss, actually. Even in India nowadays, the rape cases are increasing, right? And we should be very careful about this. The parents should train their sons in a way that they grow up respecting women, and the girls should be trained enough to be defensive and learn combat combat skills or learn defensive martial arts, kickboxing, to keep yourself strong, healthy, and to have all techniques, to learn techniques to defend yourself. So we learn this thing from this poem. It is actually the main character in the poem. She turns into a nightingale. It's just a mythical character. That means an imagination, but he turns into a nightingale. And with this, you can see that she was raped by her own brother in law. So the speaker observes that the nightingale is turning her pain into a song. So everyone knows a nightingale is the bird that sings the sweetest. So he's comparing the girl, Philomela, to a nightingale, and he's saying that the pain in her song reveals what all happened with her. He then contrasts her pain with his own pain, arguing that he suffers even more than she does, because while she is able to express her pain, he must suffer his silently. So sometimes it happens, right? We cannot express our pain in words. We cannot explain to anyone that what we are suffering through. That pain is much more greater if we cannot explain it to someone, and someone is not ready to understand it, and we have to suffer in silence. So that pain is much more heavier than the pain a person who can express his feelings and talk about his pain. Okay, so let's go through the character list. From this part, we will understand who all are there in the poetry, and who all means characters whose name we should remember. So the first one is the speaker. The poem is written from a perspective of first person speaker. So the first person, that means he is speaking about himself. He, the speaker, the author itself, it's his own story. The speaker narrates the story of Philomela the Nightingale in order to create a point of contrast for his own experience. So the poet is, itself is expressing about his own feelings, about his own experience, but he is including the story of Philomela, that is the nightingale, in order to express how he feels. While Philomela has suffered a lot, that is rape, and now cries out in so much pain, he directly addresses her twice, O Philomela fair, telling her that she should take comfort in his story. So as naturally you all can see, if someone, a person who is depressed and he's not well, so if he sees an, or if he sees a person who's more deeply in pain, so he actually does not feel that his pain is much more, right, because of the pain of the others. So if you feel that, oh, I don't have these things, I don't have these materialistic things, and I want that and this, right, and you're so, and sometimes we become so greedy that we want this, that we want everything, right, and then if we go on the road and we can see some beggar who does not have anything, maybe he's not gifted with his hands and legs, right, his limbs. So that time we actually realize that, oh God, I mean, we thank God that whatever we have, it is enough for us. It is more than enough for us. At least we are not suffering like this person on the road, right? So I hope everyone feels that way when we look at a person who's below us. So that's the same thing that the poet is saying, that we should look at the pain of others and also understand your own pain, and do not think that your own pain is much greater, but there are many in the world who are suffering through more. While she is able to express her anguish, so he is saying that my pain is much more because I'm not able to express. At least Philomela is able to express by, as she's singing. Then his thorn is within. He it pains him within. In the second stanza, he specifies the cause of his pain. He craves love on a daily basis, but he is unable to find contentment. To modern readers, his statement that a man's erotic longing is worse than a woman's rape will read as callous. So he's trying to say that, of course, everyone knows a woman who's been raped is, I mean, she's in such a depression, and what all goes through her, and she's suffering through so much in her life. But this poet is trying to say that a man's erotic longing means a man who is in so much pain that he cannot express what he is going through has much more his pain is much more heavier than a woman who's being raped. So that is actually too much. So he just wants to explain his pain, how bad his pain is, by explaining that even it's bad, worse than a person who's raped. And as his complaint takes the form of a poem, the reader is also left to wonder, is it true that he is unable to express himself? So whoever will read the poem will understand that yes, the poet is not able to express himself, and that's why he's expressing with the help of another person's story or pain. Now let's see. The first character is done, that's the speaker. The second character is Philomela, that's the nightingale. The mythical character Philomela appears in the poem in the form of a nightingale. So the nightingale is the character actually, the bird who sings. But it's an imagination that this nightingale was actually a girl in the past who was raped, and now she's turned into a nightingale and she sings and she expresses her emotions by the song. We receive her perspective only from the speaker's outside vantage point. So we do not, in the whole poem, we do not know Philomela, but we know it through the speaker as he is the person explaining about Philomela. From his perspective, she turns her grief over her rape into a song. So whatever she's suffering through, she's singing it out through a song. Her main source of anguish is her rape, and the speaker considers her response woman-like, diminishing her pain. So the speaker is saying that what all happened with the girl Philomela, she's expressing in a woman like, that means she wants to decrease her pain by just speaking it out. So if you see naturally, girls are more talkative than boys, right? Mostly. I'm not saying everyone, but there are, if you go to see, maximum girls are more talkative than boys, and boys are little silent than girls, right? So girls, if they are in pain or they're angry, they actually start expressing whatever it is. Whatever they feel like, they express it directly. But boys are the ones who actually keep everything in their heart. He argues that her position is improving as she is able to express herself and as her world is bursting into spring. So he's saying that it is her, the girl who has been raped, that is Philomela, the nightingale, her pain is becoming less and less by expressing herself by singing. So if you express your pain, automatically your pain decreases. And whatever she's going through, the pain will get decreased. Now we are done with the second character, that's Philomela. Let's go to the third character of the poem, that's Tereus. Tereus. Let's see who is Tereus here. Tereus appears as the source of Philomela's pain. It is stated that he forced himself on Philomela. But the speaker also described this act of force as love that succeeded in breaking her will. So Tereus is the person who actually raped Philomela here, and it is stated that he actually forced himself on her. That means, of course, he loved her, but even if anyone loves a girl, he cannot force himself on her if she is not allowing him, right? But the speaker also describes this act of force as love. Now, why is he saying love for force, right? It's not love, but his love had become in a very evilish way that he had to force it. To modern readers, it will likely seem immoral and callous to call rape a forceful act of love. Now, of course, to whoever reads it will call this a rape because it was forceful, right? Now, what is the main theme of the poetry here? The main theme of the poetry is men versus women's pain. Because in the whole poetry, the reader is trying to say, the author, the poet of the poetry, is trying to say that his pain is much more heavier than the pain of a girl who's been raped. Now, this is actually, this does not make sense, as nobody can understand the pain of the other one, because you cannot understand how much he's suffering through. You just know your own pain. You don't know how much the person in front of you is suffering, right? So you cannot measure the pain. But the speaker here is measuring the pain and saying that my pain is much more heavier than the pain of the girl of Philomela who has been raped. But he says that as she can explain her pain by singing, so her pain has been decreased, but his pain is much more heavy. The speaker compares a woman's pain to a man's pain, that is his own pain, in stating that the Nightingale's song is the expression of pain. So he states that the bird nightingale actually expresses her pain through her singing. He suggests that women are not only able to express their emotions, they are expected to. However, he casts doubt on the validity of women's pain, stating that her only cause of pain is love, minimizing the anguish of rape. Furthermore, he calls her complaints woman like in nature. Now, in short, what is this poet trying to say is he's saying that women actually express their emotions very nicely, and that is true. Maximum women can express their emotions, but there are very few women who do not express their emotions, and yes, they silently suffer. But you should not silently suffer. If something is hurting you, you should directly say it, right? And what is the speaker trying to say, that the men, that is the boys, the males, they do not express their emotions and whatever is hurting them, so it actually depresses them, right? They become more silent. But right from the it's the problem of the parents actually. When we are parents and we have two children, like the girl and the boy, if the girl cries, we do not tell her anything. We say, ah, no problem, yeah, you're right, or this thing is hurting you, okay, or we console her, right? But when the boy cries, we say, you're a boy, why are you crying, why are you crying like a girl, right? So from the very beginning, we make we have made a mentality that boys cannot cry, boys cannot express their feelings, they have to be strong, and crying is a weapon of the women. Only the girls should cry and complain and express their feelings, and not the boys. But this is a wrong mentality. We should correct. We, as the youth of this country now, it's our responsibility later on when we become parents of children. We should not compare the girl and the boy, and we should not tell the boys that don't cry like a girl. Girls do it, crying is not a weapon of girls actually. You should make the girls stronger and also the boys stronger, and you should make both of them be able to express their feelings, and you should not tell either of them that don't cry like a girl or don't express your feelings. Both equally should express their feelings. So even if a boy is crying, you should not say that, oh, he's just like a girl because he's crying. No, it's not like that. So, this is the whole theme of the poetry. The speaker suggests that the men's pain, because it cannot be expressed, is worse than the pain of a woman who can actually express it. In particular, what the speaker tries to state is that his source of pain is he just wants to express it, but he cannot. However, it is not socially sanctioned for him to speak out his pain of romantic and sexual longing. So, just as I told you, right from the beginning, the parent itself tells the child that do not express, oh, do not say, do not complain. Are you a girl? You're complaining. Why are you crying? Why are you crying like a girl? So, from the very beginning, we train the boys that you cannot cry, you cannot express, you don't complain like a girl. So, so that is the reason. Well, while growing big, these men cannot express their feelings. So that's the wrong thing that we can correct it, because the speaker believes male longing is more painful than female pain. So if a man wants something, they should express it. And if he does not express it, it is more painful than a woman, because a woman is expressing every time. So it may even be suggested that if a man is not expressing, he can act in an evil way as his expressions are not being heard. However, because the speaker does in fact express his pain in a song, in his own poem, we may also interpret him to be a knowing hypocrite. So we can tell the speaker, right? because we've read the story, and in the story he has expressed all his pain, and still in the story he's saying that I cannot express my pain. So it's hypocritical, right? We can actually tell the speaker that I cannot understand. You are writing the whole poetry and expressing your pain, and still you are writing that I cannot express my pain. It's a hypocritical statement, right? So this is the whole theme of the poetry. I hope you all got what is all this. I mean, what is the theme of the poetry? So in the coming lecture, I will read out the poetry and then move forward to the glossary, that is the meanings, question answers, and all literary elements what are required in the poetry. For now, we have discussed about the poet, we have discussed about what the poem is about, we have also discussed the character list, who all are involved, and we have also discussed the theme of the poetry, that is the pain of the man and the woman. So the whole poetry just revolves around this theme. In the next session, that is the next video, I will read out the poetry for you all, and then we will discuss about the meanings, that is a glossary part. I hope you all understood what all was explained in this video today. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care of yourself and make your immune system strong and express your feelings. Do not act like the speaker in the poetry. Express. If you're a boy or a girl, doesn't matter. Just express yourself. Thank you so much.